Hey all, Dave from Bluebears Games here again. Today's version of $20 MTG budget decks will be Ballroom Blitz. So Ballroom Blitz actually is just me trying to be cute. Originally this deck was called Rakdos Blitz because it is a black-red deck. However, I noticed that black and red for BR would make Ballroom Blitz along with the famous song that's out there. I thought it would just be cute. So today's deck is about Ballroom Blitz. Basically, it is black, red, haste blitz. So let's go ahead and take a look. So it focuses on hasting creatures into play or getting an extra turn out of their damage. So obviously, if it's Rakdos, we go with Rakdos Cackler. One to cast Unleash. Unleash says that you can have it enter with a +1/+1 counter on it, and it can't block as long as it has that counter on it. So, a 1 to cast 2/2, not that bad. So I went with a play set of those so that we could get our first turn to be a 2/2 creature that has basically no drawbacks because you're not really going to be blocking with these things anyway. The next creature is Spark Elemental. It's another cheap 1 to cast. It's a 3/1, trample haste, and then sacrifice it. Again, more damage quicker. It's almost like a lightning bolt. If you get off first turn, it's like lightning bolting your opponent. Spike Jester was the black-red version of basically Spark Elemental. Only it costs an extra mana. 3/1 hasting. It has a quick start. This deck has a very quick start, but unfortunately fizzles out if you don't kill your opponent within 3 or 4 turns. I found this in my collection and thought that this would be great for this deck. This is actually what made me think of the deck. Jund Blade. Essentially, it's the same thing as the Spike Jester, only it can be cast for a different color combination if you so choose, but it fits extremely well into this deck, especially since almost every creature in this deck is going to be multicolored except for the ones that sacrifice themselves, so it's going to be a 3/2 when it comes into play usually. So I put a play set of those in there. Some damage to go through so you can basically eliminate your opponent's creatures if you need to, or it could be the final damage you need. So I put in a couple shocks. I added some blazing salvos. I myself love this card. I know a lot of people don't like to choose one or the other. Your opponent gets to choose. I feel that this card gives value in a budget deck just because you're either getting 3 damage to target creature, which would clear the way for any of your creatures, or you're going to get 5 damage to the dome. You know, a quarter of your opponent's starting health. That's pretty good for 1 red. So I kind of like those, and I went with them for this deck. Bolt of Keranos, I chose this basically because I need the scry. There's no real draw power here, so making your draws a little bit better, always a bonus, so I went with those. Annihilating Fire, more creature remove on your opponent's side, or kill shot on your opponent right to the dome. Because we have black along with red, we have some of the better options as far as being able to remove creatures on your opponent's side. So with the black part being mostly your suite of getting rid of your opponent's creatures, the red's probably going to be used as direct damage to your opponent's head, just as the finishing touches. So that's the bonus of having black and red in the same deck. I went with Complete Disregard just to get out the early creatures. Terrors to get rid of all the nasty biggies if they're not black or artifact. Grizzly Spectacle. This one's a little different than Terror. It destroys a non-artifact creature, and its controller puts cards equal to the power from the top of his library into his graveyard. Just a cute little extra bonus. Oblivion Strike for any of those really annoying things that for some reason can keep recurring. Again, like phoenixes or some of those zombies that keep coming back, just to keep making sure that they don't come back. Murderer's Cut, because you're not going to get any of your cards back, so Delve makes it cost cheaper, and you can just destroy anything, doesn't matter what it has. Asphyxiate for in case they are leaving blockers up, and you can just kill it if you can't kill it. Like if it has a a bigger toughness than 3 damage or whatever your red spells can do. This is just to make sure you can get rid of the bump in the night. This is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to make this deck in general. It's basically a black lightning bolt, but you can flash it back for red later if you need to, and it loses life, and the loss of life can't be prevented. So it's actually, it's a little bit better and a little bit worse because you can't target creatures, but it's basically a lightning bolt. Alright, so for the rares, Ixava, Rakdos, Blood Witch, again, black-red, first striking, haste, and unleash. And each other creature you control with the +1/+1 counter has haste. The last ability isn't really going to be all that important because the only things that have unleash in here are the Rakdos Cackler, and the only other thing that gets +1/+1 isn't a counter. So it's more along the lines of the first strike and the haste. It's still a 4 to cast, 3/3, first strike and haste. And you can have it so that it puts a +1/+1 counter, so it can be a 4/4 first striking haste on the 4th turn. Sometimes that's, in the new days of Magic, that's actually almost more the norm for to cast 4/4s, but back when this card was made, it wasn't. But the first strike kind of bumps it up and pushes it a little bit more. And then we have good old Ball Lightning. If you're playing a Blitz deck or a Haste deck, you gotta have Ball Lightning. 30 cast 6/1 Haste Trampler. Yeah, sure, it dies at the end of the turn, but who cares? You got your 6 damage in. And then a new version of the Ball Lightning that I found, Impetuous Devils. It's a 4 to cast version of Ball Lightning. The only difference is that one defending creature a player controls has to block it if able. A little weird, but you know what I say? You need some redundancy in decks, so 2 Ball Lightnings for basically the same price. So I went with that. And then the special card, Dictator of the Twin Gods. You're going to see this in a lot of decks just because I have a lot of versions of it. But the other reason is because it does what red wants you to do. It doubles damage as a surprise. And I can't stress to you enough, in a deck like this specifically, it's blitzing in. If you even need to put it out, it could be that extra damage you need to hit somebody right to the face with some of your direct damage. So I went with that for this deck. Now, the land suites basics, the mountains and the swamps. Some evolving wilds for the thinning of the deck for your lands. Also, it helps mana fix a little bit in case if you need like an extra swamp or an extra forest, you didn't actually get them for whatever reason, you didn't draw them. They're good to have. It replaces fetches as a cheap alternative. And then Rakdos Guild Gates, I put a playset of them in there so that you have good mana fixing. Alright, so that is Ballroom Blitz. It's basic, efficient, fast creatures on the fly. So if you have any comments about it, go ahead and comment below. Any questions, go ahead and put in the comments below. Please don't forget to like the video. Like us on Facebook, it's Blue Bears Games. Share the video out to your social media so others can enjoy the video. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see future content. I have a lot more coming up. Please be, I'm sorry. Well, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thanks for watching.